Caitlin Clark just made WNBA history with a contract decision that nobody saw coming. A rookie sensation has officially accepted a $1 million deal. Even entire league and shock fans are asking, to the WNBA just dodged a bullet, or are we watching start a new sports empire? Okay, let's pause for a second. $1 million in the WNBA, that's not just big, it's seismic. If you're here for the real story and not to filter version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. Caitlin Clark, who has even finished her rookie year, just cracked a ceiling, has been sitting above women's basketball leaded glass tune. We're talking about a league where the average salary for players is often under six figures, and suddenly, bam, 7 digits, right in your face now, from endorsements, not from shoe deals, from basketball, from playing the game now. If you're blinking a little and wondering how he got here, you're not alone. This wasn't just some random contract extension or a standard rookie deal sweetener. This was a power move, a statement. And it lit fire under everyone from fans, lead execs to upstart leagues trying to get their claws into the Caitlin Clark busy. This because, make no mistake, Caitlin is the business. Let's rewind as a bit. Before she even hit the WNBA court, Clark was already a full-blown phenomenon. Sold out college games, millions of viewers tuning in, viral three-pointers and parking lot. It was obvious as girl wasn't as a player. She was a movement, the kind of generational talent that gets people who don't even watch basketball suddenly following women's hoops religiously. So naturally, everyone one piece of her. Enter Unrivaled, this flashy, controversial brand new startup lead that saw dollar signs in Caitlin wake. These folks thought, why not skip the WNBA entirely, just throw the bag. Clark, maybe Tarzan, some glitzy branding, edgy uniforms influenced our marketing, and boom, instant league relevance. And to their credit, they didn't exactly hold back. Rumors swirled, a multi-million-dollar offers, special rebel. You split creative control, maybe even league ownership down the line. Wild stuff. If you didn't know better, you'd think they were trying to poach LeBron in 2004. But here's where things got spicy. She said no, or at least she didn't say yes. And in this world, silence can speak louder than a press conference. Instead, Caitlin Clark doubled down on the WNBA. She showed up suited up, and now she just cashed the check that completely redefines what a woman in professional basketball is worth. $1 million. Let that sink in, because what does can't Rack really says is the WNBA finally gets it, or at least they realize they can afford not to get it. For years, fans and critics have dragged a lead for how it undervalues his talent, while male counterparts signed contract in the tens of millions and live in charge at luxury. WNBA players have been flying commercial, grinding through year-round overseas gigs, just make ends meet, and getting media coverage. Only when something goes viral then came Caitlin, and with her came eyeballs, ticket sales, sponsorships, jersey sellouts, record-breaking viewership numbers that literally outperformed entire NBA markets. Suddenly the conversation shifted from how can we make people care about the WNBA to how we keep Caitlin Clark from walk out the door with the entire fan base. Because that's the thing, she's not just the player, she's a cultural tipping point, a unicorn, and fans, though they are ruthless about her. When Unrivaled started creeping into the picture, fans shut that noise down fast. Every tweet, every whisper about Clark leaving the WNBA was met with digital torches and pitchforks. People were calling Unrivaled a gimmick, a TikTok league. WWE sneakers, ouch. And it wasn't just randoms on the internet. League insiders, analysts, even players started expressing concern, not just about Clark potentially leaving, but about what her departure would mean. Because here's the truth no one want to say out loud. Caitlin Clark is a WNBA right now. She's driving ratings, headline sponsorships. Her presence is directly tied to how much networks are willing to pay for media rights. One person, that's insane. So yeah, that $1 million contract is not just a paycheck. Hit the panic button. Life raft. Please don't go from a league that knows it as something precious, and for the first time in a long time, something powerful. And yet the drama doesn't stop there. Because Unrivaled isn't going quietly, they're still lurking in the shadows waiting for their shot signing other town. It hinting a big expansion's promising and elevate experience for players. But for now, the Caitlin Clark train has left their station, and the fans, they're not exactly sad about it. In fact, if there were an award for most clown new league launch, Unrivaled might already be polishing the trophy. People aren't buying it, not the flashy promos, not the we're different energy, not the start of swagger. It's giving desperate like when a reboot tries to be edgy for gens, but end up feeling like your dad using TikTok slang. The branding might be loud, but the trust isn't there, and if Clark is, and on the roster, the credibility just doesn't stick. So now we're in this fascinating moment. The WNBA just made history. Caitlin Clark is the highest paid female basketball player in league history. Rival leagues are flailing to stay relevant, and the fans, they're watching it all unfold like a live reality show. The question is what comes next, because this is a win for Caitlin and a win for the league. But also it's a warning shot. The WNBA had to do this, because without players like Clark, the league will be back to struggling for airtime on ESPN 8-2, and this contract wasn't just about money, it was about control, about keeping the league's golden goose from fly the co-op. And Caitlin, she played it perfectly. She never trashed rival leagues, never made a big speech, never turned or platform into a lecture. She just let the hype build, let the offers come in, and waited. Like a Queen Linda court scramble, and then boom, loyalty rewarded, bag secured. It's giving Game of Thrones of the Daenerys had a killer jump shot. Still, none of this fixes a deeper issues. The WNBA has problems. I go way beyond one superstar. There's still a massive pay gap. There's still travel issues, financial sustainability, questions, TV deal struggles. The league can't build itself around one player forever. What happens when Clark gets injured or wants out or just a side? She's done. This moment, it's a pivot point, a wake-up call, a blueprint, or a way. Warning, because let's not kid ourselves, this contract doesn't fix everything. But it does show that change is possible, that fans will show up if they're given reason, that star power matters. And if you invest in the right people, the returns are real. Caitlin Clark just rewrote the playbook, not will. Fiery speech, not with a dramatic walkout, but with a signature on a contract that says, I'm worth it, and I'm staying. So here we are, the fans are celebrating, rival leagues are regrouping. And the WNBA, they're praying they didn't just make their first and last $1 million move to LA. Late in the end, and the real takeaway isn't just about the money, it's about the message, know your worth, and make them pay for it. First of all, let's talk about wouldn't happen, because sometimes the absence of chaos is just as loud as the chaos itself. There was no press tour, no teary interviews, no cryptic Instagram posts with vague captions like chapter close or loyalty is everything. Caitlin Clark didn't pull abroad and announce the decision. She didn't drop, merge, launch a podcast, or schedule an emergency TikTok live to explain her choice. She just made the move quietly, confidently, and at silence deafening, because this wasn't as about catching a check, it was about flexing our power without ever needing to say a word, that some real boss little energy. Meanwhile, the league, the WNBA, has basically been running a public victory lap, and honestly, they should. This isn't just about signing a player, it's about anchoring their entire future to someone who's already redefining what success looks like. We're not even halfway through a rookie season, and she's moving numbers like an MVP vet, but now the pressure's on Caitlin Clark's deal a precedent. And you can bet the rest of the league has taken notice that $1 million mark isn't just a one-time anomaly, it's a new benchmark, a glowing neon sign that says if you're a star, you're worth the investment. Now picture being one of the other top-tier WNBA players. You've been grinding for years, logging triple-doubles and flying coach, all while being paid less than the team, the system, marketing director, and suddenly the rookie's got $1 million deal and a Nike campaign. Few locker. This might be cool on the surface, but conversations are happening. The CB is already a hot button topic, And this just threw gasoline on a fire. How's the league or manage expectations now? Because while Clark deserves everything she's getting, is also cracked the door open for other players to demand more, and they should. This is long overdue, but the league's financial structure not exactly built to support a full roster of $1 million contracts. So unless the WNBA figures out how to expand its revenue streams fast, we can be looking at a serious tension point, because one player making bank is great for headlines, but 10-player IRS asked the same thing, that a financial reckoning waiting to happen, which brings us to another point. Media writes Caitlin Clark has been doing more for viewership than half the NBA team combined. Her games are spiking ratings, dragging casual fans into the WNBA ecosystem and making ESPN execs actually care. They're like, not and performative. Yeah, women's sports cutaway been a wait. This is real money kind of way. Networks are suddenly realizing that would write star women's basketball isn't niche, it's prime time, and guess who's holding all the cards now? Clark is a leverage. Her name is the deal sweetener. Or if she's playing, people are watching, so when those TV contracts come up for renewal, best believe WNBA is going to be willing her out front and center, like, here's our ratings queen, what's your offer? On the flip side, if rival leagues like Unrivaled won't break into the game, they need their own Clark some way, who can deliver not just talent but audience. And sorry, not every ball or with a strong crossover is gonna cut it. The thing about Caitlin is she is that rare crossover appeal. Sports fans love her, casuals or intrigue kids want to be her brand. See $signs. She's a total package. That's not something you can build in a lab or a startup league with flashing neon uniforms and hashtag slogans. But here's where things get even weirder, because even though Clark is getting this historic contract and pulling in record numbers, she still doesn't talk about it. She's not lobbying. She's not calling out haters. She's not using her mic to shame the league or dunk on rival offers. She displays that restraint. That's her secret weapon, because while the drama swirls around her, she stays clean. She doesn't look like she's chasing clout or capitalizing on hype. She's just clocking and scoring 30 and leaving with win. Meanwhile, everyone else is scrambling. Leagues, brands, analysts, Twitter trolls trying to catch up, and fans, they love it. There's something deeply refreshing about a star who isn't constantly marketing herself, yet still owns the entire spotlight. Cheesy. I have a storm, calm, steady, and devastatingly effective. Now let's talk culture for a second, because Caitlin Clark's impact isn't just about sports, it's about visibility. 4 years women's basketball's had to fight tooth and nail for relevance. Players work hard. Certainly being asked, why should we watch instead of who's your favorite player? And then Clark shows up, and suddenly everyone is watching now, because the media force it, or because the lead to the 10-part documentary, but because she made it impossible to ignore. Her talent is undeniable, her confidence, it's unshakable. She made women's basketball cool, and not in a fourth marking department kind of way. Think about the ripple effect of that. Little girls in gyms across the country are seeing themselves in her. High school prospects are dreaming bigger. College players are realizing that they grind hard enough at a dumb court. There's actually a future waiting for them. It's no longer just about passion. There's a career path now with real money, real fame, and real respect. That a game changer. And let's not ignore the optics here. This is happening in a sports culture that's still struggling with how to value women athletes. So Caitlin Clark becomes a millionaire in a rookie season. That's a headline that sends shockwaves far beyond basketball Twitter. It's a challenge to every outdated data system still pretending female athletes are somehow less than. A middle finger to every boardroom that said, we don't think there's an audience. As a wake-up call to every brand that's been too scared to go all in. And here's something we really need to talk about: how the other leagues are reacting. On Rival, for instance, might have seen Clark rejection as a loss, but what they should see is a blueprint if they ever want to compete seriously. It can't be about gimmicks or marketing fluff. It has to be about substance, about cultivating real talent, real stories, real stars. Because what Clark just proved is that fans don't care about shiny graphics and slogans. They care about authenticity, about loyalty, about who actually shows up night after night and delivers. So if Unrivaled or any future challenger wants a matter, they need to build around athletes, not over them. They need to find the next wave of Caitlyn. It's not try to shortcut their way to relevance by throwing money around like confetti. But that's easier said than done, because right now Caitlyn Clark is the bar, and she just raised it so high it might be years before anyone else even gets close. Which brings us back to the W. And at this moment isn't just the win, it's a window, a chance, a lead to finally scale up, build smarter instead of the players were actually moving the needle. This is the beginning of a new era, but only if they play it right. And don't get it twisted, there are still plenty of obstacles, from travel conditions to team marketing budgets to inconsistent scheduling. The WNBA has some real growing pains ahead, but his contract, it's proof that when the league decides to go big it can, or not done yet, not even close. Because of Caitlyn Clark's $1 million moment taught us anything is that the chaos doesn't end when the ink dries on contract. It starts there. Let's get into the chessboard, because while the WNBA just made power move to keep Caitlyn, the game of women's basketball is now in full on territory war mode. And here's the quiet part no one wants to say out loud. This wasn't just a contract, it was a preemptive strike. You're not taking her defensive maneuver aimed squarely at every other lead brand, and corporate Eddie sniffing around. See, Unrivaled isn't the only one trying to shake things up. There are whispers of even more alternative league trying it in the game. Think start of the C-Bag vanity projects, lifestyle leagues, Tide influence or culture, or international ventures looking to cash in on us market. Caitlyn Clark isn't just a player anymore, she's an entire market category. And this is where things get real complicated for the WNBA, because now they made their stance clear. Stars will be paid, but you know who have heard that everyone not in the WNBA, every top and say prospect, every overseas for NAM, every marketing executive trying to spot the next breakout name, they all decide if you generate a buzz, the will ban maybe even break its own rule. Those to keep you happy, and once that door's open, you can't shut it again. So let's talk ripple effect, because you better believe is a generation of high school juniors right now watching this and going, wait, there's real money in women's hoops now. That's huge. This isn't just about rewarding one player. This is about race, setting every expectation for what the next 5 to 10 years of the sport could look like. Top talent is no longer just aiming for Olympic dreams or overseas contracts. They're gonna for that Clark money. And that's going to change. Entire pipeline of U programs are going to shift. Focus ages are going to start sniffing around earlier. Media outlets against our branding high school stars as the next Caitlyn Clark, just a ride engagement wave. And you better believe brands are going to follow the hype like sharks the blood. Let's be honest, women's basketball has never had a true face of the league moment the way men's sports have. We've had icons, we've had legends. But this feels different. Clark isn't just dominating, she's converting the unconverted. And that brings us to another subtle but critical twist. She's doing it without changing herself. No scandals, no manufactured drama, no forced personality pivots to be more like a full or palatable or brand safe. She's competitive, intense, unapologetic, and people are obsessed. She doesn't water herself down to make people comfortable, and that's revolutionary, because for decades the unspoken rule for women athletes has been be great, but be nice, be done. Dominant, but be humble, be bold, but not too loud. And Caitlyn Clark is shredding that rulebook game by getting. She talks match, she celebrates, she makes you check threes and knows are going into football leagues or hands. And she does all of it without blinking. She's not afraid on the moment. And that level of confidence infectious. It's also kind of branding nightmare for her competitors. Because how do you build a rival league around new energy when Clark already owns that narrative? How do you convince fans to jump ship when a main character hasn't left the building? You can't, at least not yet, which means Unrivaled and any other league hoping to make waves is a tough choice to make. You define next breakout star fast or pivot away from trying compete at Caitlyn level altogether. They might have to get scrappy, target niche markets, offer year-round social media infrastructure, go full lifestyles, boards meet reality TV. The car about a different kind of fan base, because of the go toe-to-toe on pure basketball star power. Their Cook Clark set the bar too high. But back to the WNBA, because this next part can be tricky. Let's not forget this league isn't a cash cow. It runs lean, always has, so I'll pay. A clogged kind of money was necessary. It also wasn't easy. Someone somewhere is doing financial gymnastics. Behind the scenes, sponsors are getting leaned on, partnerships are being restructured. It's all very keep the shit from tipping while we plug the hole with duct tape. And long term, that's not sustainable. If the WNBA wants his moment to be more than a stunt, they will need actual infrastructure behind it. That means growing team revenues, building out better travel systems, securing long-term broadcast rights that actually pay, maybe even welcoming and private ownership models that look more like the NBA or MLS, because right now the math doesn't work. You can have one player making $1 million while the rest of the roster is hustling for $75,000 and hoping their per diem doesn't get cut. They're a recipe for locker room tension, union issues, and PR disease. Masters waiting to happen. So here's where things get juicy. Who's next? Who's good? Be the next player to test the system to see if the league is willing to go back to the well for another big payout, because you know someone is watching Clark's bag and thinking, okay, it's my turn. And if the league hesitates, if they don't offer the same support or spotlight, that's when you might see someone finally